Amazing places in London that you can't visit. Part 9, Limehouse, Chinatown. This topic's been chosen by my lovely patrons. If you would like to join them, there's a link in my bio. These days, London's Chinatown is firmly in the West End, but this is pretty new. This thing didn't really get going until the 1970s. 100 years ago, it was actually in the East End, and this makes sense. London's first Chinese community was mostly sailors, so they wanted to stay near the docks, and it was almost entirely men, sometimes marrying English women. Lots of writers like Charles Dickens and Arthur Conan Doyle and Oscar Wilde played up how scary and crime-ridden the place was, especially its opium dens, which were legal at the time. But in reality, it was like a couple hundred Chinese people running like grocers' shops and laundries and things, not enough to make a crime den. So why did it move? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Partly, a lot of the houses in Limehouse were just slums, and so they got demolished in the 1930s. Partly, the little Chinese community that was there was dwarfed by a totally new wave of immigration from Hong Kong in the 1970s, and by then the docks were basically closed. People didn't want to move there. So they set up in the West End instead, where Chinatown is still going strong today. But there is still a big Chinese community in the East End. They're just not as visible as their West End counterpart. You can find traces of the history in place names like Mandarin Street and Amoy Place, and in this beautiful little dragon that sits outside West Ferry DLR station.